We've got Kal Penn in the studio with us this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. Understand another Harold and Kumar film hitting theaters, just a couple weeks?
Yeah, November 4th, and this one's in 3D, so a little different from last time.
And Christmas.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably the bigger factor. It's also a Christmas movie.
Now, tell us a little bit about the plot of this one.
Sure. So
much different than any of the others?
It actually is in a sense, because the first two movies took place really within a minute of each other. The guys got their White Castle and then they ended up getting sent to Guantanamo Bay, which is a ridiculous sentence if I have to say it. And this one takes place 6 years afterwards. So Harold has now moved in with his wife. They're living in the suburbs. Really the quintessential Harold. Kumar has gone down the drain, as you might expect. He's the quintessential slacker. He probably hasn't left his apartment in 2 weeks. He's grown a beard. Even more of a stoner than you saw before. And the two guys don't talk to each other because they've just drifted apart in those 6 years. And a package arrives at Kumar's door addressed to Harold, because Kumar's in that same apartment that he was in the last two movies. So he's got to bring it over to him, and that package kind of brings them together, and then the kind of insanity that you're used to at those movies ensues. There's Santa Claus, Neil Patrick Harris, Thomas Lennon from Reno 911, a whole bunch of great cameos, Patton Oswalt.
Now, did you ever think that the movies would be as big as they are when you made the first White Castle film?
No clue. In fact, the first movie, a lot of people forget, the first movie tanked at the box office. So it came out and people were sort of like, what? The title is what? No, I'm not seeing this movie. And it tanked at the box office, but the fans got it on DVD and kind of discovered it and gave it to each other, and that's what gave us a second and then a third movie. So we had no idea, and when it came out, we thought, well, this is it. I'm going to go back to waiting tables maybe. Not that there's anything wrong with that, and everyone does it, but it was a very nice surprise, and especially nice that it came from the fans.
Excellent. Well, in addition to the big screen, you're also a star on the small screen too, in addition to How I Met Your Mother. Great role on House.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was great. What about the cast? Hugh Laurie. Got to ask you about Hugh Laurie.
Hugh Laurie's great, and he's actually very funny. A lot of folks forget that he did British comedy for years. Before he was on House, and if you go back and kind of discover some of his old DVDs, they're so funny. He's such a great guy.
Oh,
yeah, Fry and Laurie, and yeah.
Love that. Now, obviously, this is the last season for House, and your character was killed off during the time, but is there a chance you'll make a reappearance?
I love those guys. So
a flashback or something.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I know that this season House is in jail. He was institutionalized before, and I guess if they're up for it, I'm up for it. I love working with them.
Now, tell us, you were working on House, and you decided to give up the acting for a while and go to the White House. What made you decide to do that?
Sure. So I took a sabbatical for about 2 years. I actually started volunteering for the president's campaign in 2007. That was, before folks remembered his name and were kind of like, who's this guy? And it was neat. The reason I did it was because I had friends who were over in Iraq and buddies who still couldn't afford college and things like that. I think that's kind of what got a lot of people involved. But then 2 years later, he actually won the presidency, and I kind of thought, well, I've been working for him in a couple of capacities. Would love that opportunity, if it presents itself, and it did. So I thought, if there's a way to serve my country for a couple of years, it wouldn't be such a bad thing.
It's awesome.
It was cool. It was really, very humbling experience to walk in there every day and see folks that are really working so hard. You rarely see it, I think, in the news, because the news is so kind of focused on the back and forth of it makes great television, the kind of negativity, but it's not the reality of what I think a lot of people at the White House are trying to do. So it was a great experience.
Now, has the president given you an open door policy? Because you've come and left twice. So are you open to coming back?
I would love to go back if we can get him a second term. I want to work on his campaign, the next 18 months, and then we'll see. I think my goal was to take a 2-year sabbatical. After the first year, got a call from our producers who said, we're doing another Harold and Kumar, and I sort of said, well, great, but I'm on a 2-year sabbatical. I said, no, it's a Christmas movie. We got to do it now. We have a contract. We're already in motion. So I went and shot that, and luckily was able to reapply for my job back. I think, however folks serve their country, whether it's volunteering locally or joining the military or having a chance to do something in D.C., it was just awesome, and would certainly love to do it again.
Now, is that part of the reason you're doing this city tour? In addition to that, is this more political, or is this promoting the movie, or what?
No, this is promoting the movie. Although tonight I'm doing a lecture at Bellarmine on media and public service. So that's probably the only part of it. But we're about to embark on our national promo tour for the Harold and Kumar movie, which of course has nothing to do with politics at all.
Interesting. It's crazy to think that you may be in, in respect as A Christmas Story and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and one of the movies that everybody has to watch every holiday season.
I hope so, although it's, unlike A Christmas Story, I don't know how Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas would ever show up on network television. It's, do not take your young children
One
to
of
see
those.
this movie. Maybe your
More,
17-year-olds are fine, but...
More like the Bad Santa type.
Exactly, that's right. So it'll probably be on Comedy Central. That would be great if it were, became one of those quintessential Christmas movies. We have a lot of stuff in it that we grew up with. So the claymation that we would grow up with on, Saturday mornings with the holidays. There's a claymated scene with Harold and Kumar that looks like the stuff that we saw, and it's in 3D as well, so that's kind of neat. There's, Santa Claus, obviously. There's a scene that can't be described properly on radio. I'd have to censor myself, but it's similar to the Christmas Story, one of the quintessential scenes in A Christmas Story with the kids' tongue getting stuck to a pole.
Excellent. Well, Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas opens nationwide November 4th. Kal Penn, thanks so much.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for
Great
having
seeing
me.
you.
Appreciate it.